Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. If you're new here, my name is Elena and I am the homeschooling mama to 3 kiddos, and here on the channel we talk about everything from homeschooling to homemaking and all the things in between. Today we're going to talk about my fitness kind of recap, and then going forward what my goals are going to be and how I'm plotting that all into my composition notebook here. I kind of use it like a bullet journal. So I have a couple of videos up documenting my journey in here and also my setup of this. So if you want to see that, I will leave a couple in the cards and then in the description box for you down below. But I've really been liking using this. I used it, like I said, more like a bullet journal, and it has been working out pretty well for me. It gave me the freedom to journal when I wanted to journal in here. It also gave me so I had space when I wanted to journal, but I also could use this for, I was putting my workouts in as well. And then in the front there is where I had more stats and that kind of stuff. For the month of June, this was just where I ushered in June, and then all my workouts in here. My goal was 13 workouts. As of the time of recording, it's the 29th. I did my 12th workout. So tomorrow I need to get a workout in if I want to reach that goal. I really cut it short. But then I just have this was just how I was marking down my workouts in here. Nothing really fancy. It was good though. It worked out well for me. So going forward though, I'm going to set some new goals. I did at the beginning have some goals here, and I did finally get to my 130s. That was my goal. I got there just barely, but now I am ready to kind of stop tracking so meticulously and stop, give myself a break from looking at the scale so much and using that for one of my bigger measurements. I was also taking measurements. I was also taking pictures, as you can see back here. So I was doing measurements and pictures to kind of help not let the scale be my only measurement. But I was still relying on that, I think, pretty heavily. So going forward for the next, I don't even know, I don't have a set timeline. Just for the next few months, maybe. I honestly don't have a really set timeline. I do typically like to set my goals in 90 days, but this time around, I'm gonna just go with it for a little while and see. I'm gonna see where my progress is, and then how I progress going forward. So here on this page, I just kind of was writing down a little bit of the things that I wanted to track. So here I wanted to do a sort of June wrap up, and then I think I'm going to give myself space here to journal over what my goals were going forward, what I want them to be, and then down here I'm going to put down what my new goals are and what I'm focusing on going forward. So I had, like I said, put down some stuff in pencil here, so I'm just erasing that, and I'm going to put it down in pen. So I've just taken out this Wrong Fitness. I use this quite frequently. It is pretty old, and you'll see as I flip through that I've used it quite a few times, but I really like this one. So we're going to use this all the way up, I feel like. I'm just going to maybe put a couple of motivational things here just to go with this little going forward part. Okay, so all I did here, I do feel like this kind of gets lost because of the shadowing from the page before, but that's okay, it's down. It says a little progress, each day adds up to big results. So just as a reminder that, you know, it's going to take it day by day. I'm not going to see overnight results. Even doing this for a while, I can still kind of hope for that, right? And I have to just keep reminding myself that it will come with consistency. So going forward, what I like to do is continue working on my mental health and the overall gut connection with that. So we talked about that before in a couple of the other videos, but the mind health and the gut connection with keeping a healthy gut and what that all means and stuff. And so I've been diving into that a little bit deeper, and I want to continue on with that. I want to focus more on PRs, so personal records or personal bests, instead of the scale. I am going to be tracking on the scale as well, but my numbers that I want to see bigger changes in are going to be the amount of actual weight that I'm lifting. And then here, the PRs that I'm going to be tracking are my squats, hip thrusts, and deadlifts. I'm going to track everything, but these are going to be the 3 that I really kind of hone in on and put my energy towards to see what I can max out on. And then here, I just want to see some muscle definitions in my quads and my glutes and my hamstrings going forward. I did get some good muscle definition in my arms, so I'm going to continue on with that as well, but I'd like to focus a little bit, shift my focus a little bit more to my legs going forward. And then here I'm going to journal in a little bit the June wrap up. On this side here, I'm going to leave it blank for now. I kind of went ahead and lightly penciled in. I cut it off into quadrants so that I can put side-by-side pictures to just kind of have a comparison. So I'm going to leave the front, I think the front and back page. No, I think I'll just leave this front page for pictures, and if I want to add more, I can always tip in more. On this page though, I'm going to actually tip in a few pages. This is from, oh, I can't remember her name, but I will link her video down below where she talks about the menstrual cycle and the way that it can affect your workouts and stuff. And so she has a free printable if you sign up for her email. And so I want to get that information in here, but I need to cut it down. Going to use a regular old glue stick. It's what I've been using in here. There's probably way stronger glue, but this is what I have and it'll work. So this is what we're going to use. So it is 3 pages, and this page I did print out back and forth. So I'm going to try to trim it down as best I can so that I can just kind of tip it in. So I think this will work. It might be a little tricky when I got a lot of scrap paper here to the side. I think it might be a little tricky if I'm like flipping to it every day. Actually, no, it'll work out just fine, because normally when I go, I take this whole thing downstairs and then, yeah, I can just flip to the workout page without these falling out. So I think that'll work. So I have this page here. It'll just flip out and give me the information that I want. So on here, I actually want to put a monthly calendar so that I can track my calendar and how I'm feeling, my cycle, I mean, and how I'm feeling, and any symptoms or things that I feel like I'm going through, to see if it matches up with this or if I can make any correlations. So here, I'm just gonna draw in a monthly calendar. Okay, so I just put it in with pencil. It isn't, like I said, going to be anything fancy. I like that this kind of style, being in a composition notebook, being that I can design it any way that I want, the freedom of a bullet journal, and then it just gives me like this freedom to make mistakes and to not have to have anything super fancy. Let me know if that makes sense, that sometimes you just can put a lot of pressure on yourself in your other planners to make it look, you know, picture perfect or something and not get it done. And I've really been trying to fight that and just production over pretty sometimes. So there we go. I've got it down for my July month here, and then Monday through Sunday, because weekly, that'll just make sense workout wise for me. I think that the first is going to be on a Friday. I didn't need this extra row here, but that's okay. You have some room, extra room for notes and things like that. So there we go. I have my monthly calendar down now, and it's dated, and this is where I will track my cycle, and like I said, anything that I feel like corresponds here so I can see a better idea. And I'm probably going to do this for a few months, because I don't think that I'm going to get a clear picture in just 1 month. And then here is where I'm going to start adding in some stats. I'm going to do, I went ahead and just updated this. I had this at the beginning here, but I put in a couple of things. So here I forgot to put my BMI in, and so I added that line in. And then I also added in my deadlift, squat, and hip thrust. So this is how I'm thinking this will work. This will be week 1, and then you can see it skips over to week 3. So I am going to just do this bi-weekly. I think that may take a little pressure off of me as well. So then I will have the dates up here. I know I don't have very much room to write it, but I'll have like July 1, 2, and I can always change the dates. I just put July 1 to July 8th because July 1st sounds like a good time to just get it going. And so it will be from Friday to Friday would be a whole week. But I'm thinking if I want to switch that up, I can. But that would be the dates there, and then this would be my weight. These would be my stats for on the 1st. These would be my stats for the 8th. Actually, I think it would be the 7th is when I would. So this would be my stats for that date. And then here is where I would mark any change between the 2 weeks. Now, the next time that I do this, in 2 weeks, that will be week 3 for me. So that would be the dates. If I continue with these dates, that would be 7/15 to 7/21. Like I said, I'm just writing this in pencil in case I want to change it. But then here is where I would write the stats for this first date, the stats, I would come back to it and put the stats on this date. And then here I would write the difference between this week in this first part here, and then where this dash mark is, up here I have change / from week 1. So this would be the change from this week. And this would be the change, if any, from week 1. So that way, all throughout, I'm seeing the change from the 2 weeks and then the change overall. So I'm going to just cut these out and see if I can't get them to fit in here, much like I did on the other one, and get that glued in too. So these are in, and then here is where I will just put in my workouts as normal. So let me just walk you through what we've done and how I've set it up. Here I'm going to sit down and journal my June wrap up and why I think going forward this is my game plan a little bit, just to have that. I really like having room to journal in here. I found that that's working out really well for me. Here's what I'm looking at going forward. I don't have any set numbers. I just want to see how much I can increase with my PRs and that kind of stuff. I will say that I think the app that I have been using, the Ryse app, is going to be clutch in this. It's going to help so much because they keep some really great stats on that app as well. I will link it for you down below, or I will leave for you down below in the description box too if you want to check that out, but they keep really great. You just plug in your workouts and then you can see these really cool stats and that kind of stuff, your increase and things like that. So here's where I will mark down my pictures once I get those going again. And then here I just put in some information that I want to have on hand about, it actually has about the menstrual cycle, and then it goes into training with your cycle and then eating for your cycle. And so I think that's going to be some great information to have on hand, and I'm just going to jot it down here on this calendar. I'm going to jot down my cycle and then see if it corresponds with the information here and how it kind of affects me and my workouts and my eating. Here is where I went ahead and put in the things I'm going to start tracking. So I am going to continue to weigh myself. It's just not going to, hitting a certain number is not going to be one of my primary goals. So I will continue to track my weight, my body fat percentage, my subcutaneous fat percentage, my muscle mass, my metabolic age, my BMI, and then my deadlift max, squat max, and my hip thrust max. So I added in my deadlift, squat, and hip thrust. I did add in my BMI, but I hand wrote that, I think around week 8 here. I hand wrote in the BMI. So I went ahead and added that in here. And then I printed out 2 pages worth of this graph, and this graph I just made on Google Docs. So I printed this out, 2 pages, ended up being 15 weeks. So if I want to continue on more weeks and I want it right next to it, I could always tip in more pages, or I could just add it on somewhere else. And then here, I'm going to continue doing my workouts like I have been doing in here. I do track them on the Ryse app, but there's something about having paper to pen, clearly that works well for my brain as well, since I really love paper planning and things like that. Let me see if I have one without any two personal notes on here. So like for this week, what I did was this is typically how I was writing down my workouts, was that I would just put in on Monday, and then I would put the date, and then I have started marking if I've had pre-workout or if I've had like just coffee or what I've had for the morning to get me going. And I just started adding in the times. Here you can see I wrote the time at 1 p.m. That's when I did that workout, just to kind of see, because I have been switching up my workout times. Then I will write out, usually I warm up on the treadmill, and so I just write that out, and I write out the stats that I want to keep with that. And then my bench press, my warm-up, I did 10 at 55, and then that day I ended up doing 3 sets of 7 at 75, and I wrote next to it hard. It felt hard to me, but I did it. And so I have that written down, and then I did some front raises with plates, and so I just make myself little notes here, and then I write down how long it took me, how many calories my watch tells me I burned, things like that. Tuesday, I went ahead and I did a little cardio, and I just wrote myself a little note about what was going on with our day and that. So my husband had come home early, and he set up the weights for himself while I did cardio, and then I just wrote that I was sore. And then I keep going in that kind of manner and writing it down here. I was so tired. I just wrote, I'm so tired. No one is sleeping well at night. Jesus, help us rest. And so this was really tough time. Nobody was sleeping well in the house, and it was just affecting us all so much. So I like having that. You can see. So you can see here, I'm just covering up a little bit of it, but I journaled a little bit more of how I was feeling, and then just some things that this day I was watching, sometimes I will watch YouTube when I'm on the treadmill, and I was watching Rene. She's a great motivator for me. She is here on YouTube. I will link her channel for you as well, but she had said, sometimes you have to give people a reason to be on your team. And then I wrote her name because that was her quote, and then down here I just wrote, do the work, show up. And so it was just a reminder to myself that I wanted to do the work, continue to do the work, continue to show up for myself. But I did have some other thoughts that I wanted to journal in there. I find that journaling in here is really helping, which is why I want to leave the spaces to journal. So on these pages here, I will have space if I want to write down things, how they're going. Like this, I kind of was trying to mark down little bits of things. So I have that here if I want to keep that going. because like I've said multiple times now, journaling in here helps. So that's how I'm gonna move going forward. I have these stats here, and then I will just continue doing my workout this way, and then the way that I showed, just tracking it in here and also tracking on the Ryse app. So if you want to follow me, that is another outlet on the Ryse app. I am on there. Like I said, I will link it down below, but that is my setup and going forward what the plan is for new fitness goals. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and getting this set up. I would love to know your fitness goals. If you feel comfortable sharing them down below so we can be cheering one another on. I also want to let you know, if you haven't heard, please know that you are deeply and truly loved and so appreciated. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of our little YouTube family.